What up, Screen Fiends? I'm GB, and you're tuned in to Headz TV, where we like to discuss all the wonderful things appearing on your movie and your TV screens. In this episode, I'm going to give my review of Fear the Walking Dead, Season 3, Episode 2, titled The New Frontier. Oh, fear the Walking Dead. How I fear for Fear the Walking Dead. Ugh. Alright, so Fear the Walking Dead, Season 3, Episode 2, The New Frontier. Alright, let me start with the beginning. I liked the beginning with Travis and all that. I know a lot of people out there didn't like it. I didn't expect it. And yes, I think it was partly done for shock value. And the reason why it was Travis was because of him obviously going off to do the Avatar series. I really think that's the reason why it was Travis. But they needed a big death. And it was a surprising one that I didn't see coming. And I liked the way it happened because it was... Look, even in real life, every day, the real world, people die, right? By these strange occurrences or accidents or mishaps or whatever. Now, when you talk about a war scenario where like guns and machine guns and helicopters are involved, then, more of that stuff happens where people are kind of just sitting in a helicopter going from A to B, and the helicopter gets, or the Jeep or whatever, gets riddled with bullets, and people die. And sometimes they're important people. Sometimes they're people you love. Sometimes they're people that are useful. Sometimes they're the most gangster, soldier person that there is. And that's just the way life goes. And I liked it. That part of it. That's how it felt to me. Like, oh, this sucks. You just got out of this whole situation. You're, half reunited with everybody. You're all going to the same location. You're going to be reunited. And then you could figure things out from there. And things are looking somewhat positive for the situation. And then, boom. Something that totally unexpected happens. And you die. And I thought that was handled brilliantly. I loved it. I liked Travis as a character. I didn't want to see Travis go. Especially after he had such a strong first episode. If you haven't watched it, see my episode 1 review. I loved that scene in the pit. And it made me respect Travis so much more. And I've loved where they've taken his arc throughout the seasons. He's the one positive thing I've had about Fear the Walking Dead since the beginning. The one constant positive was Travis, Cliff Curtis? Yeah, I think that's his name. He's a fantastic actor, and what they've done with his character was great, even though there were mistakes along the way, but those were mostly production mistakes, not anything to do with the character or the actor. So I liked it. I know a lot of fans out there are hating on it for numerous reasons, because they feel it was only shock value, because they love Travis, because it was so unexpected, because it wasn't walkers or some face-to-face or some battle. But I like the way that was handled, because that's just how it is, man. Sometimes you get out of a rough situation and things still don't work out your way. And they got out of a hell of a rough situation. For it to end like that, it sucks, but it made it feel real. All right, enough of that. I love that part of the episode. As for the rest of the episode, beat me in the head, dude. Like, now we're back to the same stuff that I hated about Season 2, where certain character motivations and actions are just ridiculous. And then, I hate the Insta Hero. What do I mean by the Insta Hero? This is something that happens on network TV often. If you watch a lot of my videos or any of my videos, you probably know how I feel about network TV. I'm not the biggest fan of those shows. CBS, NBC, Fox, CW, all those networks. I'm not really a big fan of those shows or the way that they're written, acted, or handled. A lot of the casting is good, but just the end result of those shows I don't like. And that's how Fear the Walking Dead feels to me at times. Now, after a strong first episode, especially where the walkers were starting to feel a little scary, as they should on a zombie show, which Fear has never gotten right. The walkers never feel scary or feel like a threat on Fear. So the Insta Hero is when people that haven't been taught anything or gone through anything or had no experience or haven't lived out through an extended period of time to learn badass skills automatically exhibit badass skills. Alicia is the prime example of this. She knows how to handle a gun like a pro. I don't remember seeing too much about her getting taught things. She's nailing down headshots like nobody's business. You know, she stashes the knife and all that, and that's all real gangster stuff. And I feel like you need some characters that aren't going to get it that quick. Why is The Walking Dead successful? Because there's characters like Beth and like Dale that may not be able to handle themselves in combat, but are still useful in other ways. And there's none of that here. Everyone seems to be turning into a badass in their own way, and that's a big mistake. I'm going to do a whole video about that probably on Wednesday, you know, when I do like the Walker Wednesday. That'll be like my bonus video for that day. That and the predictions for the next episode. So I don't like that at all, and they did that with Alicia big time in this episode. I liked the soldier in the dark. It was creepy, and it was nice, and it was good, and the walkers were scary in that moment too. But you know, not enough of it. You know, this early in the show, it should be all about the walkers and not about so much about the people. You could sprinkle in bad people here and there. And then I know you'll say, oh, that's just copying The Walking Dead. But that's the one part of The Walking Dead they should copy. It's like they're trying to copy wrong things about The Walking Dead, like storylines, instead of the formula that worked with Walking Dead. You stick to the walkers and survival for the beginning. Then you start to pepper in people, and then you make people and walkers. And then once you do that, you can start to shift to people for a while, to walkers, to people, to walkers. But Fear hasn't grasped that concept yet. All right, enough said. I'm going to do a whole nother video about that. But, all right, so they get to that militia camp, and I like the casting. I like a lot of the actors. The performances in Season 3 are, in my opinion, way better than the performances in past seasons, the hotel stuff aside. But that was rollover stuff from Season 2, which I didn't like, and the militia stuff is all, you know, it's all new stuff. So if you didn't notice, you know, they're a militia. They're survivalists. They're not really military people. They're military trained. That's how they train. That's how they live and stuff, like military. So I'm not trying to knock anyone out there who may be a survivalist or into that sort of thing. But that's what they are. They're not real military. They're a militia. But they're still just, in this world, they're just as dangerous or as deadly or as tough as the real military. So I should stop saying that, right? So, yeah, we get Unser from Sons of Anarchy. Love that show, by the way. And, you know, he's a good actor, and, you know, he did his thing in this. I didn't really like a lot of the stuff from Madison. Her reaction to Travis, for finding out that Travis died, felt totally flat to me. I feel like they were trying to copy Rick's reaction to finding out Lori was dead, and not only was it noticeable to a diehard Walking Dead fan that's probably what they were going for. By the way it was handled in almost the same way, right? By somebody else telling them that their loved one is dead, and then they're actually seeing it happen. So I didn't care for the way it was handled, because it not only did it feel like a copy, her performance in it, Madison, the actress escapes my memory. Let me not go crazy right now. Kim Dickens. So her performance in that moment felt totally flat for me, and it felt like acting, and I didn't care for it whatsoever. Then we have the Nick and Luciana, I believe. We have the Nick and Luciana stuff, and all right, I get it. He fell in love with her. Plus, she's useful. She's tough and everything. But the way it was handled, this is one of these instances that it's not what's in the story that I have a problem with. It's the way it was handled, with them giving Nick the gun. And first off, all of them being so cool with the Clarks after gouging out one of their son's eyes and killing their men. Like, they don't know these people yet. They're too quick to accept them. Fear should take a lesson from Lost. You can take a few episodes and build a hostage situation. Everything doesn't have to happen in 1 and 2 episodes. And that's the thing that kills me with Fear, is it feels rushing the time. It feels like they're they're trying to rush to certain landmarks. Like they're trying to get through the beginning and then get through the walkers to get to people. And now let's get through the random people to get to the organized people. And it just feels way too rushed to me. Whereas if you watch The Walking Dead, the regular show, it's more fluid. It flows better. Let me stop comparing them. I'm sorry. I can't help it. But I really had problems with this episode. So the whole thing with Nick grabbing the gun and then pointing it at them and then ultimately giving it back to them and then ultimately helping Luciana, it was all pointless. There was no point to any of it. Nick should have been telling her. I actually heard somebody, I forgot who it was. I watched so many videos. Somebody said this in another video, so I'm not taking credit for it. I wish I could give credit where it's due. I just don't remember right now. But somebody in another video I was watching, another Walking Dead video, was saying how Nick should have just said, she's useful, she's a soldier, she has skills, she could be of use to you. You just lost people in a helicopter crash. Help her. And they didn't do it. Like, that would have been way better than what they did. And what they did felt like what Fear the Walking Dead does. Makes things happen in the story that don't make sense. They're doing it just so they could get from A to B. But what they're not realizing is sometimes what happens between A and B can also be interesting and necessary or useful in some way. And I shouldn't say A and B, A and C, right? That makes more sense. They're trying to get from A to C. It makes a little bit more sense by skipping over B. Yeah, that makes a lot more sense. And that's not the way to handle it. I'm sorry. I know I'm not a professional writer. I know I'm not in the TV business or show business of any kind. But they're handling it the wrong way. This is the same problem I have with a lot of those network shows. And that's why it's falling flat. The first episode, walkers were scary. The beginning of this episode, things were scary. And that's what this show should be. And then the rest of the episode, it felt like a soap opera. There's so much good TV that you could take. I'm not saying rip off, but you could take cues from to make better. All I'm saying is I didn't like this episode, man, honestly. Because I liked the beginning of it, up until everything was taking place in the militia, that, I would give it a higher score if, based on just that. But because the whole second half and all the Strand stuff was just bad to me, this episode probably barely gets a 3. Barely, like a 2.7 or something like that. Because this episode was just not good. I have high hopes. But see, I can't give it a 2.7. I'm going to give it a 3 because I liked the Travis thing. Even though I'm sad to see Travis go, I liked it. Yeah, I'm going to give it a 3. I know I'm always changing my mind. I know I keep saying I'm going to stop giving the numbers too. I should just say I liked it or I didn't. But overall, I didn't like this episode. And I'm fearful for the rest of season 3. I'm going to stick with it, though, because it's Walking Dead. I'm going to review them whether I like them or not. I don't like to be a negative Nelly, especially about my TV and movies. But sometimes you got to just tell it like it is. So I didn't really care for this episode that much. It could have been worse, but it could have been so much better. And I'm still excited to see what happens next. But I'm worried once again. All right, sound off down below. Let me know what you thought about this episode. Fear the Walking Dead, Season 3, Episode 2, The New Frontier. Did you like it? Did you not like it? Just give me your all-around opinions or what you thought about the first 2 or whatever. If you didn't check out the other Fear video, definitely go check that out. There'll be Fear videos every week, predictions as well as reviews, so make sure you tune in for that. Thank you so much for watching. Always appreciate it. You guys have a fantastic night, and I will see you next time.